So we've talked about that. We hope that something gets worked out between the Minnesota Vikings and Dalvin Cook, because if Dalvin can stay healthy, we think he's one of the most dynamic running backs in the league, if not the best running back in the league. But it's a big if, right? But if Dalvin and the Vikings are so far apart that it doesn't seem to be that there will ever be any middle ground, any compromise, any long-term deal agreed to, the Vikings should test the market. See which way the wind is blowing. Rick Spielman should look to potentially trade Dalvin Cook before the season? Question mark. All right. Now, trade compensation we've talked about. Looking for a one or the equivalent of a late first-round pick. It would be nice to get some immediate value for him heading into the 2021 NFL Draft. Maybe spend on a running back. I don't know. Chuba Hubbard, Travis Etienne, one time. But here are 5 trade destinations for Dalvin Cook if the Vikings are open to dealing for him. So, it's all the Florida teams. Yeah, numero uno, one that we've talked about a lot already. The Miami Dolphins, Dalvin's hometown. This one's the obvious choice. Dolphins do have $20.7 million in cap space. The running back room is Jordan Howard and Kalen Ballage. Cool. Getting Tua Tagovailoa, a decent running back, as well as a very good receiving option on the backfield, I think would really help Tua's progression, as well as they have an extra first and second round pick from the Texans as part of the Laramie Tunsil deal. Plus, they have 2 extra 6th and a 7th, which Spielman's like, baby, we got Stu going. So how about a second, both the 6th and a 7th? I mean, Spielman would just cream. Like, that is absolutely what he wants to do. Late round draft picks rule everything around me. Cream. Sure. That. Next up, the other Florida team. Well, of the 3 Florida teams. So, Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, the Jaguars have this weird thing about running backs. So, obviously, they were burned taking Leonard Fournette, number 4 overall, a couple years ago. So, that ain't going to work, right? But Fournette was a 2-down tyrant. He is a terrible receiver. Everyone knew that going in. But add in dynamic Dalvin. The Jaguars do have $20.4 million in cap space. I add an explosive playmaker on that offense. Maybe it staves them from being in the number 1 overall pick, Darby. But even though it does seem like they do want to be. Yeah. Plus, also, they also have an extra first-round pick and a 4th-round pick from the Jalen Ramsey trade from the Rams. So they got that going for them, which is nice. Number 3, finishing up the Florida teams. So the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Bucs are all in on 2020 with Gronk and dragging Tom Brady's ass down to Florida. And yeah, they do have Ronald Jones, and they drafted Keyshawn Vaughn, who's a pretty decent running back as well. But they're in. Dalvin would be an upgrade, monster upgrade over Keyshawn Vaughn and Ronald Jones. Even though they only have $4.87 million in cap space, we've talked about teams can structure a deal since Dalvin does have 1 year remaining on his rookie deal, where it's a small cap hit in 2020, extrapolate that in 2021 going forward. Plus, we're Brady in check down Charlie mode portion of his career. I mean, Dalvin on the backfield will be absolutely monstrous. Just imagine Dalvin with Godwin and Evans and TJ and Gronk and OJ and Cameron Brate and Tristan Wirfs on a tackle eligible. Why not? Trade destination number 4 for Dalvin Cook, the goddamn Jets. Just another chapter in the dumbest rivalry in sports history. Now, the Jets are like the kid who don't learn their lesson from sticking the fork in the electric socket. They're just like, I better try that again to make sure it wasn't a fluke. So they obviously busted out a Le'Veon Bell contract that turns out to be one of the worst contracts in NFL history. Then they signed Frank Gore, but he ain't it long term. The other running backs they have on the roster is Trenton Cannon, Kenneth Dixon, remember him from like 5 years ago, as well as they drafted Lemical Pirine out of Florida in the 4th round. So, I mean, the running back room, it ain't great. Le'Veon Bell certainly ain't what he used to be. But also, they do have some decent cap space, so they can work a Dalvin deal into their numbers. And just that maybe they see this as revenge of the Vikings. Hey, we'll show you, Vikings. We'll send you a first-round pick for your running back, huh? Yeah, Kirk Cousins didn't pick us. Anthony DeBar didn't pick us, but we got your running back. Ha-ha. Aha. Yeah, run that by GM Joe Douglas, a.k.a. White Suge Knight. Do that. Lastly, destination number 5. This is probably the spiciest. San Francisco 49ers. Woo! Now, I understand that the Vikings aiding and abetting an NFC contender. That'll be kind of rough. Niners were close last year. Jimmy G needs all the help that he can get. He is certainly not a top-tier quarterback. And Raheem Mostert is certainly a nice story. Could he carry the load a full 16 games, a full season? I don't know. Like, Tevin Coleman ain't it anymore. Jerick McKinnon hasn't played it down for them in the past 2 years, even though he's like the 7th highest paid running back in the league. It's funny. And then also, what if you were able? What if the Niners were able to add a running back who's played in a nearly identical system and had massive success in it? I mean, wouldn't that intrigue John Lynch just a little bit? And John Lynch ain't afraid to gamble. Plus, he has shown that he is all in on the season, dealing Brandon Ayuk as well as trading for Trent Williams. So why not Dalvin, right? If Dalvin is on the block, why not give up a first and maybe a little bit extra cheddar, all your 7th-round picks, to get a guy who's succeeded in a scheme that is almost exactly identical to the one that you run. Because Shanahan's scheme is Kubiak's. It just is, right? Niners do have $15.6 million in cap space, so they can make it work. So, there you go. That's it. Those are 5 potential trade destinations for Dalvin Cook if they can't work something out with the Minnesota Vikings. What are your thoughts? Any other destinations that you have on the top of your mind? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. If you want to support the work, pull some of the Venmo. Please give us a follow on social media as well. Until next time. Skull, production value.